Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about binding spells, implants, and spiritual attacks. Normally I don't speak about this topic on my channel. I usually talk about it in private, but apparently some of you have been asking for it and Spirit's been nudging me to give you the information. So let's jump in. Let's talk about binding spells. A binding spell is something that someone either places on you directly or they placed it on your ancestor, and then that spell goes down the bloodline. So if you're someone that's really powerful, if you're here to do big work, or if you had an ancestor that can really make a difference in humanity, someone can place a spell onto you or onto an ancestor in order to bind your abilities, to bind what you can do, to make it really tough to get out there. And we definitely have some distractions. All right, so I want you to notice that because as I was talking to you about binding spells, a card started blowing its horn. There's people talking, so obviously there's distractions as far as me getting you this information. So basically, a binding spell, maybe you have a powerful ancestor or you're here to do big work yourself. And someone recognizes that because maybe you're able to help humanity really move forward, uplift the consciousness so that we're not such in dark times. And there's certain people that want to have power and control over people. So that's the reason why someone would place a binding spell, is to have power over you or power over ancestor or power over humanity, to keep people very quiet and subdued. And if you're able to really shine and break through and create the change that you're intended to make, that might create an imbalance for someone else who wants to see people very low vibe. So that's why someone would create a binding spell. So the way to know if there has been a binding spell placed on you or within your bloodline is to actually ask the question. Ask Spirit, has there been a binding spell placed on me or on my ancestors? And then allow Spirit to show you the signs if there was or was not. If there was a spell placed on you, don't stress about it, because what Spirit will do is will direct you to the healer that can break it for you. So there was actually a spell that was placed on one of my ancestors, and I know exactly who it was placed on. And as that spell was placed, when I went to a healer to get it broken, she given me a script to read, and each time I read that script to break it, energetically I felt like there was a lasso around me and it got tighter. And so it got tight to the point to where it was actually physically painful for me. So also the part of the spell is to put you in some type of fear so that you don't want to break it. Because if it hurts enough to release it, you might say to yourself, well, I'll just deal with it. I'll live life like this. It's too painful to break. So it took me 5 times of saying these particular wordings, and once I did, it actually broke. I felt it energetically released from me, and I felt so much better. So sometimes when you're trying to move forward in life and it just seems like you can't catch a break and it's just one thing after another and you're like, what's going on? This isn't normal. Like if you see others that are thriving and you're constantly not doing well, there could be something that was placed on you or on an ancestor in order to slow down your steps. So again, ask Spirit if there was a spell placed on you or on a family member, and if it was, don't worry, because Spirit is going to lead you to the healer that's going to be able to support you. Okay, so that's one on binding spells. So let's now talk about implants. So what is an implant? An implant is something that can actually be inserted into you in order to monitor you or to also slow you down. So it kind of has that same effect as a binding spell, but instead of a spell, it's actually something that is placed underneath the skin. So I've actually had an implant inserted in me at the base of my neck, and I knew exactly when it happened. It was nighttime. I was asleep. It was not a dream. I actually heard a being in my room and I could not move. So sometimes when you wake up, you can have like that sleep paralysis where you cannot move. And the reason why I couldn't move is because I would have tried to stop. Now, although I could not move my upper torso, I could move my legs. So my legs were moving back and forth to try to stop it. So I did feel like a sharp pain in the base of my neck and something being injected in. I saw the color red and then the room began to spin. I ended up going to a healer where she did an energetic scan on me. She could not see or locate the implant. So I went to another healer, and right away he spotted that implant. And he told me exactly where it was because I knew it, because physically I felt it. He disabled it and then he energetically removed it. So again, the reason why someone would want to stop or slow us down is because, like, I'm here making these videos, I'm sharing information. It could spark something in you in order for you to help yourself and then help other people in humanity, in order for us to really raise our vibration and to have a higher consciousness so that we're not so low vibe all the time. And so different beings will work together in order to slow you down or to stop you. I've also had an experience where I've supported a client, and during a mediumship reading, she wanted to speak to an aunt. And as I looked and began to try to communicate with the aunt, what happened was I saw a wall come up, and it was a black wall. I could see her trying to peek over it, but she just could not come through. So what I did was I called in Archangel Michael. I asked for assistance. I asked to, cut any, binds that tied, any type of cables, anything that was stopping this ant from coming through. He gave me some words to say. I said those words, and then that wall immediately came down, and then the ant was able to come through and speak to her niece. So what the aunt shared with us was, they were born before her and the previous generations, and they were trying to break a particular spell and pattern that was placed over the family. They could not break it. The niece was the first one that was able to break it, to really set that whole lineage free, and she was able to do that through our mediumship reading together when we brought in Archangel Michael in order to support us. So when we think about a spiritual attack, it's all considered a spiritual attack, whether someone is putting on a love spell on you, if they're doing some type of binding, if there's an implant. It's all just meant to just reduce and stop you and slow you down. So if you feel like that maybe you've been tampered with during the evening, or you feel off, or just something isn't quite right in your life, more than likely you are right. Ask spirit, what's going on, and then ask to be shown, and then ask to have the healer to come onto your path in order to support you, so that they can do an energetic scan and then release you from anything that is stopping you, because you're meant to be free. You're not meant to struggle. Okay, so share with me in the comments below. Let me know if you feel like this is helpful, if you would like more videos like this. If you have a question about something that's going on with you, let's talk about it. I can create an answer video. Be sure to subscribe so you'll know when the next video is up. Okay, take care.